So to start with, first of all, good morning and welcome to the first in our 2021 Beyond the Numbers series. My name is Chad Saikaley. I'm a partner and head of tax at GGFL, and it is my pleasure to be your host for today's presentation. The theme of our series is recover. While there is still a large hill to climb, better days are ahead, and this series is aimed at helping businesses prepare for those better days by giving them insights and tools that will help them plan their recovery from this devastating pandemic. There are two parts of today's presentation. In part two, I will be presenting a framework for evaluating investment opportunities that will help business leaders determine the best course of action. But first, it is my sincere pleasure to welcome today's guest, George Hanna. George is the president and CEO of Gabriel Pizza, and he has generously offered to share with us today Gabriel's pandemic survival story and how the investments they have made in the last 12 months to redesign a key part of their business operations is helping the organization make it through the pandemic. Welcome, George.
Good morning, Chad. Thank you for having me.
Our absolute pleasure. Looking forward to this. So, George, for the one person in Ottawa who hasn't heard of Gabriel Pizza, give us an overview of your business and its operation as they stood last February.
So, Gabriel Pizza is a takeout and restaurant business. We've got 40 locations in Ottawa and the Gatineau area, and actually up to Eastern Ontario. And so we've got roughly, you can say about a quarter of our operations are dine and takeout, and the rest are all takeout. So we operate the restaurants. Actually, if we're going to go back to last February, things were amazing last February, and the restaurant business was booming. The takeout business was doing awesome, and we were on an amazing growth path. And then obviously the pandemic hit, and things started to change from there.
So it's interesting, I guess, for us to fully understand and grasp what you guys had to do. I think it's important for us to sort of try to understand Gabriel's and how it became, right? How it came to be, right? Because you're coming in and you're competing with the big names, in the business. And so if you don't mind letting us know a bit of a history of how this started, this family business, a great overall story, and, to where you brought it up to be before the pandemic even hit.
Sure. Gabriel started in 1977. My father was and still is the founder of Gabriel Pizza. Him and his 5 brothers actually started Gabriel's in Orleans on St. Joseph Boulevard in 1977. It was a family-run business along with their parents. And the first location started to as the 80s started to come around, Orleans started to grow, and that location no longer could handle the volume that it was starting to receive from all of the new homes that were starting to be developed. So they opened up a second location, again with his brothers, again in Orleans. That was in probably around 82, 83. And then the second brought the third, also in Orleans, and the fourth, and then the fifth, which was on Ogilvie Road. I was starting to get out of Orleans. After that, our first location outside of the Eastern Ottawa area would have been Canada, and that was the first one that I actually headed out with a partner, and that's when franchising started to become a reality for Gabriel's. We had our first partner, which was out of the family, which was kind of weird for us because it was always such a closed family type of business.
I bet.
We never thought about actually expanding outside of the family. But as I started to venture out and I wanted to take this to the next level, we had to bring in other partners or other franchisees. Which was our first store in Canada. And then after that, we started to get interest from some of our employees that were working at Gabriel's, and a lot of them seemed to want to be part of what was starting to happen. And then it brought up a few more stores. And then around 2003, I'm just fast forwarding as fast as I could, but around 2003 is when we decided to create a franchise package, a franchise agreement, and the true building of the franchise actually began in 2003.
Very interesting. So you basically brought it to a point where, again, if we're looking back to last February, you now have a number of stakeholders, right? Like you've got your family, but even I would say more challenging than that would be a number of your franchisees that are sort of now sort of established, that they're used to a certain method, a certain ordering method as well too. You had call center. You were also accepting orders online, and so things were sort of kicking along, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, when things were starting to grow, we we decided that we needed to come up with a solution for our ordering system. At the time, all of the stores were still answering calls at the store, and we felt that this wasn't really working too well for us because many of our customers sometimes didn't even know where they were ordering from or what store they were ordering from, and store owners, they just were loving the business. So some of them were taking orders that didn't actually belong into their area. So we decided to go with at first Bell Canada came to us with a solution which is called 310. Most people use it when they dial Bell, like 310 Bell. So it was 310-7777. This was just a mapping type of system where if you dialed the number, depending on where you were, it would send you to the proper location. So a customer wouldn't even realize what store they were calling, but the routing was done through Bell. That worked for a little while. And then again, we started to have problems with the routing, and issues started to rise. And on top of that, we just wanted to get a grip of our customer service and make sure that every Gabriel's customer was experiencing the same type of customer service levels that they would get anywhere. So we decided to invest in a call center, and that was another step. That was in about 2000 and close to 2008, 2009, when we decided to open up our call center, and started with I think almost about 15 agents. And right now, currently, the call center is close to almost 70 or 80 agents, which we house here in Ottawa, and then some of the overflow gets done from other call centers. And that was the next step towards getting Gabriel's stabilized in terms of how orders were being placed.
Right. And how many locations in total do you guys have?
Right now, we're up to 40.
40 locations. Okay. And would you say, so I guess before the pandemic, how was revenue split? You sort of told us about sort of store splitting, but how was revenue split between dine-in and the takeout and delivery?
Roughly in total, probably 80 takeout, 20 dine-in percentage.
Okay.
Though you do have some of the dine-in stores slash takeouts might be a bit higher, but as a total sales of revenue, I would say it's close to about that.
Okay. So then when the lockdown hit in March, what was the immediate impact on the business?
Well, the immediate impact on the business are on me first.
I remember those calls.
Well, I think for any business owner, Chad, at the time, it was scary.
Yeah.
You don't know what to expect. You don't know what's going to happen. None of us have ever been through a pandemic. You don't know how the government's going to react. You don't know if there's going to be any funding available, any help. You're lost, right?
Absolutely.
Thankfully for me, I have a great team at Gabriel's head office, from the accounting department to the marketing to operations department, and also the great help that I received from you at GGFL and your team. We were able to put a plan together to forecast what we had assumed would happen from March to September. And Chad, you were part of all of that. And the numbers didn't look good. And it was worrisome. And we were trying to figure out how are we going to survive this period, at least to get to the other side so that we can continue. We knew that we had a very strong, viable business. We knew that the brand is strong. We knew that we were able to we're able to continue if we can survive this period. And sure enough, we put everything together. We put our projections together. We put our forecasting together, and we came up with a plan that would see us to the other side. At the time, we thought, hey, by September this should be done, and we just need enough funding to get us to September. And we thought we were over forecasting to September at the time.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah,
We're like,
we're all thinking that.
exactly. And then the government announces that the part of the essential services is the takeout delivery business. And it just, after that, I think it was 2 weeks after the pandemic started, 2 or 3, like the first 2 weeks were the roughest, where we felt a major slowdown. Like I think our revenue dropped by almost 20 or 30%. And then after that, things started to take off, and we were beating our forecast. We were beating everything that we had projected that would happen. Everything actually took a 180, and the business was there. Sure, we took a big hit with the dine-ins. We had to shut down our dining rooms. But with all the government subsidies that became available to us, along with what we were seeing with the takeout business, things actually weren't looking as bad as we had anticipated.
Right.
And we've been able to weather the storm, and we are still weathering the storm. But the pizza takeout business just took off, and it's just been actually quite amazing of a story to see.
Right, but I think there's a key reason for that, because you could have taken many different approaches, and you had many different competitors, and I'd like to get to that, to that reason. I think one of the main reasons, however, before getting there, and for the listeners here, so at that point, I'd just like to sort of break this down a bit. Did you think the impact was going to be super long lasting? You sort of touched upon it, but did you do some risk analysis and doomsday scenario calculations type of thing, and sort of assess the potential long-term impact? Like, I know you're sort of thinking out that until sort of September that things may pass, but how are you sort of getting to that? What did you do to break this down?
Well, after seeing what was forecasted for my company, and trying to and it was doomsday when I saw the numbers. It was doomsday for me. And you are, as an entrepreneur, you're trying to figure out all of your resources. How are you going to gather all of your resources and whatever you have to try to bring it all together to try to get through this? And we, Chad, as you know, we looked at financing opportunities that were available to us. We looked at how we can refinance property, all that type of stuff. But I think what maybe you're trying to get at here is our investment in our online platform, and our investment in our app and our loyalty program. How that actually was part of what got us through the major hump, because we were lucky, we had just launched our online platform. Maybe it was about 6 months before the pandemic, and it was new to us. And the loyalty program was just being launched right before the pandemic also. So we were lucky in the sense that we had those tools at our disposal, that we were able to use them to help us get through and navigate through all of this.
Right, but I guess to your credit, these are all, so even though you sort of started with these ideas, these all require a significant amount of resources, right? A significant amount. And I remember these discussions that we were having. You were just saying, what are the various options with the government? BDC, they're offering loans to the BDC. But we were going into that and sort of thinking, okay, I mean, there's so many unknowns right now, and with that, comes more and more of an obligation. I mean, these are just more and more loans and debt, and so you're having to get into that. But again, these are one of the situations where you're sort of at this crossroad, right? And having to decide what to do. So you've got very limited resources. Do you double down and get into what you truly believe? Or do you sort of scale back and become really, really conservative. So I'd like to sort of dive in a bit, so going back again to that time, right? Because it's such a critical time. Again, you're doing these sort of doomsday type of scenarios. Did you then start to develop, at what point did you start to develop contingency plans to help mitigate the impact of the pandemic?
Chad, for me, I think it was a bit of both. We had to figure out how to be a bit more conservative. And that meant, even having to lay off employees and go through all of that. And at the same time, I wanted to double down and bring in the resources and bring in the financing that was available for me in order to continue, because the brand didn't deserve to, if you want to say, die this way. The brand has such a legacy and has such a history that I needed to see this through, to be able to get to the other side, just to continue. And if it meant that I had to, for the next 10 or 15 years, be in debt in order to get out of what happened through the pandemic, I didn't want to see Gabriel's just go like that. So it does take a toll, and there was many decisions that we had to make, and some of it was scaling back, some of it was applying for all of the government programs that were available to us, and at the end of the day, that is what ended up really helping us a lot. We didn't need to go to BDC or to get extra financing that we had thought at the time that we needed. And in certain things, and in certain ways, I'm actually glad that we didn't have to go that route, right? Because right now, we're stable right now, and we're hopefully getting to the end of this thing.
Yeah, you took me back when you were saying that, because I remember a conversation with you around that time, especially when this all hit, where, yeah, you said, Chad, I'm not going to let us die. I'm not going to let us die. I'm going to do whatever is possible, and even if that means, going into more debt or doing, making those tough decisions right now to make sure that you have your stakeholders, you have your employees, and you have your franchisees and your family.
Chad, because we've also got our sister brand, Press and Crate. Right. Which is all dine-in, right? And big locations, one at Lansdowne, one on Ogilvy Road. And when you've got rent that you've got to cover or figure out, like close to $23,000 to $25,000 per location, that alone right there is $50,000 in net revenue that I got to find from somewhere else. Because at the time, landlords weren't giving in, landlords weren't helping, landlords didn't want to help. And when they looked at a company like Gabriel's, they were like, well, you've got takeout and delivery on the other side, so figure it out from the other side and give me my rent. That was scary. At that time, it was, okay, I'm going to go borrow money to pay my rent. But at the same time, how long can this last? Like, how long can I actually be able to withhold all of this? So, at the end of the day, I think the government came through for most businesses, and, whether it was the rent subsidy or wage subsidy, or even any of the incentives for the corporations, that helped a lot. Right. That was what actually gave us the lifeline. And we didn't need to go to, like, we had originally planned that we were going to go to BDC. That was a plan. And we didn't actually have to end up doing that. So that was huge for us.
So George, I also remember a conversation that we had where, and this is part of my discussion later as well too, is just looking at all of the options, right? Because again, you're having to look at all of your options. So what is the government, helping out with subsidies? What can I do with respect to, delivery? How much can I do with respect to delivery? What are my restrictions for, having people around? So you're going through all this, but I do remember, and this is something that has to be done, is looking at all of your options, but other businesses as well, and you just as anybody would be looking at, well, what if I only opened a certain amount of days, right? Like, we're definitely going to be busy. Let's say the Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays, but then we close Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays potentially. I remember we were looking into this and saying, okay, so what does that do to the revenue? The subsidies then that I get, that I'm guaranteed to keep, all of this stuff. And then again, going back to, what your thought was on that.
So Chad, first of all, I'm lucky because I've got an amazing accounting team behind me at head office, and I've got an amazing accounting firm also that are behind me, right? So I was able to see numbers and see projections like live all the time. And when we finally got our hands on this, we were able to see this, see what's happening always on the fly. So for us, we looked at, do we reduce hours? What does it mean if we reduce hours? Do we shut down stores? What does it mean if we shut down stores? Some of the conclusions that we did come to in the beginning was our Crust and Crate brand, let's just shut them down completely.
Right.
If we only had to pay the rent, so be it. At least we don't have other expenses that we had to deal with. We looked at store hours. How is it impacting the bottom line? Well, we found that after 9 p.m. for our takeout stores, people weren't ordering anymore like they used to. It was the weirdest thing, but that's what was happening. So instead of staying open now till 1 a.m. on the weekends and 12 p.m. on the weekdays, we scaled it back. We went to 9 p.m. on the weekdays and 10 p.m. on the weekends. Some stores till 11.
Right.
We figured how can we minimize the amount of employees running a takeout. Instead of, for example, in the kitchen having 7, we dropped it down to 5 or to 4. We had to do all of that, plus what was available to us through the subsidies was really something that gave us that, again, like I said, it gave us the lifeline, right? But
yeah.
The huge impact was seeing the store hours drop. Like that was all of a sudden you had your sales and more in a short period of time. Like the window was like, let's say 4 to 8 versus having to be open from 4 till midnight or from 11 to midnight. These are some of the strategies that we definitely used. Again, being able to see the numbers, being able to get things from various departments, accounting, marketing, operations, and being able to adjust on the fly was crucial for us. Had a real big impact on what happened.
So getting to the good part, right? The really, the good news part, I should say. So then going through all of your options, you eventually decided to double down, as you said, and develop your own app. So just go hard into that. You saw an opportunity of where this could help you. So what was the advantage? I'm curious, right? So what's the advantage of you going through with this approach versus joining up with, let's say, easy, skip the dishes, Uber Eats? Why'd you decide this?
I've never been a fan of Skip the Dish or Uber Eats, and that goes way back to almost 10 or 12 years ago when Skip the Dish was called Just Eat. Mm-hmm. And they had approached Gabriel's about joining, being one of their first pilot project pizza places in Ottawa. And at the time, they were asking for about 12% or 13% of your sales. And I remember looking at the guy and saying, basically, get out. There's no way I'm going to give you 12 or 13% of our sales, of our revenue. It's impossible. After that is when we decided to start exploring, online and stuff like that. But nothing really transpired or happened until maybe about the last 5 years. And I've always been a strong proponent of having my own online platform. I didn't want to give the Ubers and the skip any of any part of my business. It's almost like you're being hijacked, or people are coming into your business and taking a portion of your business, and they've made no investment. They don't care for your business like you're gonna care. They've got their own drivers, they've got their own way of doing things, right?
Yeah.
I was always against it. Skip forward to today, Skip the Dish and Uber take anywhere between 25 and 30% of your sales. In our industry, restaurant industry, or in the pizza industry, 25 or 30%, you're not going to make. You're going to have to increase your prices by that amount just to compensate and pay pay these third-party delivery services their service fees. So comes along our own online platform system, which took almost about 3 years to build and was ready about, like I said, almost 6 months to about a year before the pandemic hit. And we made a huge investment into it, significant amount. But it actually was, I don't know how to exactly say it, but you can actually say it was the real and true lifeline of what happened during the pandemic. That and the app, which came about almost a year after we launched our online ordering system. Those two applications really transformed everything. So go ahead if you want to.
No, I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking the pressure, the amount of pressure that you must have had. So your stakeholders, if we break them down, right? So you have your employees, yeah, obviously your family, but you have your franchisees that are looking at you and saying, "So what are we doing, right? And how is this going to impact me and my family?" But then also you've got your banks, your lenders, and then going to them and saying, again, to them, the idea of Uber Eats is really easy. Although, yeah, 25-30% of your revenues is huge. But sort of, it's almost like you're fighting that and taking your own path. So this pressure, right? So how do you actually communicate this to everybody?
So with regards to the franchisees, when the pandemic first started, of course, they're all nervous and they're worried about their families and their livelihood. And what is Gabriel's going to be able to do for them? How is Gabriel's going to help? Are you going to talk to my landlord? Are you going to help me with my mortgage? Are you going to help me with franchise fees, royalty fees, call center fees, all of that? Like, you're dealing with all of that and it's all coming at you.
I bet.
The first thing I did with the franchisees was I basically said, okay, I need you guys all just to take a step back. We are trying to figure out everything. Let us look at this on a weekly to bi-weekly situation before we act. Like, we can't act right now unless we understand what's going on. And some of that stuff, some of the stuff that we were talking about, Chad, at head office was how do we help them with their call center fees? How do we help them with their royalties? How do we help them with their marketing? But if we're going to do that, that means it's going to impact head office. And if we're going to scale back on that, that means we're going to scale back on the resources that we have at head office. And if I scale back on the resources that I had at head office, I can't help them anymore. I can't give them the marketing. I can't give them the operational views. I can't give them the accounting views, even the call center stuff. So it had a huge trickle down effect if we were going to move towards the breaks that they were looking at. Instead, we geared up our marketing team and we're like, okay, we got to plow through this. And how did we plow through this? We had our brand new loyalty program available and our app that was just launched. It was almost like a gift that was given to us before the pandemic started. And we started to market that. We started to advertise that. We started to work on promos and on deals that would help stabilize the business or increase the business. And sure enough, between the online ordering platform and the app, we're close to about almost 55% of our customers now are ordering through that platform.
Wow.
Those two platforms alone, Chad. So if you go call center, I think if I'm not mistaken, the call center, our average order is about maybe $30. You go, if a customer is ordering online, that average order jumps up to almost $38.
Wow.
And then when they're ordering through the app, it jumps to almost $43. So you can see the significance when the orders went mostly to online, between the online platform and the app platform, how that actually helped the store owners with revenue, because it automatically boosted the revenue by almost 15 to 20%, right?
Right.
So even though they might have lost a bit of their order count, it got compensated with the average order going up, and those two platforms were key. I think right now with just the app, and it hasn't even been a year yet, our loyalty program, we have almost 75,000 customers that have registered on it.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And the company that we use to launch the app, which is called Punch, they're out of the United States. They just came back to us and said that we were one of the leading pizza companies on their platform throughout the pandemic with attracting new customers to sign in and to actually order through the app. They were actually amazed that this company in Canada, in Ottawa, Canada, was actually doing the numbers that it was doing. It was beating a lot of their US customers.
That's incredible. And I want to understand. So basically, sorry, before moving on, I just want to make sure that we make this clear. So you went from, I'm a numbers guy, right? So we went from $30 to $38. So that's about a 25% increase when going to online. But then when you went to the app, you went to about 44, right?
Yeah,
so that's a
43, 44, yeah.
Yeah, so 43, 44. So that's about close to a 50% increase.
Pretty much.
Amazing, amazing. But how did you I guess launch this? So how did you launch get the idea out there about the app and the loyalty program? Clearly that's contributed to your current success. So how did you go ahead and do this as a local Ottawa company?
So again, I've got a marketing team, an in-house marketing team,
right?
And we've got an outsourced advertising marketing agency that we use. So when you combine the two, you got pretty good brain power going on over there. They're actually the guys that have been with Gabriel's have been with me almost 15 years. So a lot of marketing, Chad, to be honest with you. We pushed it hard through Instagram, Facebook, our own customers in the stores with front counter signage, you name it. And we just really kept sending the message, join the loyalty program, Gabriel, and everything changed, Chad. Once we launched our online platform, all of our marketing tools changed. So everywhere was order online, GabrielPizza.com, order online, GabrielPizza.com. We even had slogans in the beginning. What was one of the slogans was finally online, GabrielPizza.com. So we used that a lot, right. And it actually helped. And also with the pandemic, everybody wanted the touchless experience, right? At first, order, pay online, and have the whole touchless experience. So that also helped in increasing the average person that instead of going on the call center was actually using our online platform.
Okay, George. So I guess we could say it's fair to say the app and the loyalty program have helped your business so far. But I know your family, you're all very philanthropic. How has this app and loyalty program allowed you to help in the community?
Like you said, Chad, we're huge on our community. The philosophy comes from the days of when my dad was running Gabriel's in Orleans, always helping out the community, always being part of the community. And that has that we have followed in that same footsteps that he had actually started with. And you always appreciate everything that your community does for you and the support that we have. The brand Gabriel's is so strong in Ottawa and so well supported that you as a company want to give back, want to help in any which way you can, and we do. And there's many ways that we do that. And during the pandemic, we launched 5,000 meals. We wanted to serve 5,000 meals in 30 days, which we were successful at. We were able to help out wherever, hospitals, old age homes, wherever we were called upon, we were there. So that, I don't know if that is due to the fact that the app has helped. Sure, it helps in terms of sales and extra revenue. And when you have extra sales and extra revenue, you're able to you're able to help more, no problem. But I think irregardless, Gabriel's will always be part of the community and help in the community and give back as much as we can.
Very interesting. So if you were going through this process again, George, is there anything you do differently? And what have you learned along the way?
Yeah, if I were to do this all over again, I probably would have launched my online platform 10 years ago. Differently, I don't know if there's much I would do differently, only because the brand is family based, and when you come from a family based business and you're trying to grow it and franchise it, it's got its own set of challenges that are unique compared to other businesses. And so to do something differently would probably not. I think when I look at Gabriel's, where it started in '77 and where we're at right now, it's quite amazing to see this little company in Ottawa grow to where it is right now, and it's regarded as the #1 pizza chain in Eastern Ontario. So it's hard to do anything really that much different, other than the fact, like I said, I looking at, knowing what I know today, I would have probably jumped on with the online ordering a lot sooner than we did, actually.
So where do you see the company in 5 years?
5 years. My goal
5 years seems too long now, right? It seems like you almost got to look at things in 6-month timeframes. But yeah, where do you see the company?
My long-term goal for the company is to one day hopefully see Gabriel's across Canada. So when I look at 5 years from now, I'd like to be at least at about 100 to 120 stores. This is what we are actually have been planning, how to expand into markets like Toronto or Montreal, some parts of Quebec, even Nova Scotia down east. This is where we're at today. So 5 years from now, this is what I'm hoping, at least to be at 100 stores, and to see what new technologies are going to be available to our business, because I think the future of the pizza takeout business is going to involve some form of AI, some form of automation. There's stuff that's going to be happening and coming, and it's going to be moving at a quicker pace than in the past. And you actually when you're looking at what other bigger pizza chains are researching and investing in, you can actually see that 5 to 10 years from now, there's going to be a lot of automation in the pizza industry, which is kind of exciting.
Absolutely, and it's going to force you to have to do the same sort of process of evaluating your investment opportunities, exactly. Which leads into my discussion.
That's your job, Chad.
but George, seriously, thank you so much for your insight. It was very informative, and I know it was certainly helpful for many to hear about the Gabriel's pivot story during this pandemic.